Okay, let's do some practice, false positive, false negative problems. Let's suppose that a pregnancy test is 99% accurate, and 120 women used the test, 82 confirmed later they were definitely pregnant when they took the test. So let's fill out the expected values in the table below, and if we need to, let's round to the nearest hundredth place. Okay, now we know here we had 120 took it, 82 were pregnant, and that means 38 were not pregnant. So that's kind of first. You always want to start with your total column. So now we know that this is a 99% accurate. Well, just kind of an FYI, if you're pregnant, you would expect to test positive. So 99% is going to go here. 99% times the 82 people who are pregnant gives me a positive pregnant of 81.18. Now, if I had 82 people total and 81.18 tested positive, then 0.82 tested negative. I think that makes sense. Let's go to my not pregnant. If you're not pregnant, we would expect to test negative. So 0.99 times the 38 is going to go in the pink X spot here. So 0.99 times 38 gives me 37.62. And if I had 38 who were not pregnant and 37.62 tested negative, that means 0.38 tested positive. So let's go ahead and add our columns. I get 81.56 and 38.44. Those two totals should add up to be 120, and by golly gee Joe, they do. Okay, let's do a math problem with this. If a woman received a positive test, that's this, denominator 81.56, what is the probability she was pregnant? 81.18, and that gives me a 0.995. 99.5% chance that she was pregnant if she received a positive test. Okay, enough with that. Let's go into a new problem, because half the battle with these is really being able to set up the table. So Professor Ivy has determined that 2% of her students are big fat cheater faces on tests. The Assessment Center has purchased a computer program which claims it can detect cheaters with 95% accuracy. There's our accuracy rate. The computer program will give a positive result if it detects cheating, a negative result if it does not. The Assessment Center uses the program on 1,000 students. So our total is 1,000. And you're thinking, well, I don't know about the totals. Well, sure you do. 2% cheat. So 2% of the 1,000 will be cheaters. 0.02 times 1,000 gives me 20 cheaters. And if I have 1,000 total and 20 of them are cheating, that means 980 are not cheating. Okay, so let's talk about our cheaters. If you are cheating, you would expect to be caught, and therefore the computer would show positive. So the 99% is going to show up here. Excuse me, 95. Wrong accuracy rate. 95% is going to show up here. So 0.95 times 20 gives me the fact that 19 of these cheaters will show up positive. And if you had 20 total, 19 showed up positive, that means 1 is going to show up negative. Okay, well, let's go to the non-cheaters. If you didn't cheat, you're not worried it's going to show up negative. So the 95% is going to show up here. So 0.95 times 980 gives me a value of 931. If I had 980 non-cheaters and 931 tested negative, that means 49 are testing positive. And you can see the issue coming here. So that means we have 68 total positive testers and 932 total negative testers. And now let's use this information to answer some questions. The computer program says you cheated. That means you tested positive, denominator of 68. Explain to Professor Ivy what the chances are that you've been wrongfully accused. If it tests positive for you to be wrongfully accused, that means that you're a non-cheater. So 72% of people who are claimed to be cheaters are actually not. So you could go to Professor Ivy and say, listen, based off this test results, 72%, well more than half of your proclaimed cheaters are actually not cheaters. And therefore I am one of them. I would like a recount. something like that. This is a false positive because you've tested positive, but it's wrong. Now, the director of the assessment center doesn't want to purchase the cheat detector because he thinks 5% of students will get away with cheating. Because when you look at this, 1 out of 20 is 5%. Explain to him what the probability is that a student who gets a negative test result actually got away with cheating. There are 932 people with negative test results. One of them got away with cheating. This is 0.001. That's a 0.1%. So out of every 1,000 students, one will get away with cheating. It's not 5%, it's 0.1%. It's much, much smaller. And this is called a false negative because it's a negative test, but a false reading. And that is your practice with false positive, false negative.